done that. Surely not this awesome backpack that I'm wearing. I wear this to draw attention to the backpacks. Last week, I talked about faith and works. How faith without works is dead, and encouraged us to be people who lived our faith so that other people could see it. And as a way to live out our faith, I'm pointing to the bulletin board that we have in the lobby that has different envelopes where you can take and different ways to live your faith out loud. But then I also mentioned that we have been presented with the opportunity to serve our community by gathering backpacks for children that need them who are in the foster care system. And Youth and Family Services asked if we could collect 25 backpacks. And we have not collected 25 backpacks. We've collected over 30 backpacks. So last I counted, there were about 32, and I saw several others showed up out there today. So I just need to say, well done. Well done, church. There are people, children that will never know you. Some will. But they know that there is somebody out there who cares for you. Hopefully, they'll think of you. They'll put on their backpacks. So, for those of you who brought some, thank you very much. For everybody else that's been finding ways to show your faith, well done. Faith without works is dead. They go hand in hand together to have a living and active faith. So I was going to say, well done, church. I'm proud of you. Next, I want to talk with you about these little devices. Lots of people have them on their desks, in offices. Have you ever seen those little things that had, I think there were 5 little wooden balls or metal balls connected by 2 little strings? You take one and you drop it, and it hits one side, and it hits the other side, and it goes out. Who spent way too much time watching those? Yes, I'm sure I checked my parents when we would go to the office, and I would say the first thing I do, I'm not participating in this meeting, and so I said, and then you learn, if you take 2 of them and drop them, then 2 go. Well, then you have to try 3, and 4 after that. It's just endless entertainment, continuing, and then you notice eventually it slows down, so you have to start it all over again. Watching the pendulums swing back and forth. They're odd because the moment when they're all right in the middle is, I don't know, I'm sure some mathematician could measure it, but in my mind, it's a split second. You have some swinging, and for just a moment, they're at rest in the middle before the energy passes through all of them and sets the other one going the other way, and back and forth. And in our lives, we talk about pendulum swings, where the pendulum is way out here, and then there's a reaction. It's like, we've gone too far that way, so it swings, and it knocks the pendulum back the other way. Well, it goes too far back that way, and eventually we react to that, and it swings out again. But it never rests right in the middle. And I think that right now, we are in a pendulum swing spiritually. Because there's a big movement in Christianity to change the way that we operate, to change the way that we present ourselves, to be kind of an edgy. The word authentic is thrown around. Not your grandmother's Christian type church. And there's a big movement to transition that way. It's a reaction against what has been. Have any of you guys noticed this? Maybe in conversations where you see the way that Christians are behaving, and I have to wonder sometimes, can Christians be picked out of the proverbial crowd anymore? have we lost a sense of difference? I think the answer for many is yes. So I want to talk about those pendulum swings today, okay? One extreme versus another extreme. We don't rest in the middle. I think it's damaging our witness. I think it's damaging our churches. I think it's damaging the name of Christ. It's swinging one way where there is no difference. The way the Christians talk has become the same way that the world talks. The media that we put into our heads, the music or things on the screens that we watch, we so get, it's no different from those who are not believers. You talk about social media and how Christians destroy one another in social media and lash out against bad experiences that we had. We use this little space on Facebook or however many characters we have on some social media to air our dirty laundry and yell and rant. And we think, oh, are we being Christians when we do that? Is it any wonder that people look at us and say, I don't need any of that? Christianity no longer offers anything different than the world. And that's the swing that we're going into, is to conform to the world. And I think that conforming to the world has been a reaction to separating from the world. Because for a long time, we were super excited about our difference. And so it's like, oh, we got to push all those things away. You can't have any of that. And you condemn strongly people who are not believers. And so on one hand, you have a wall being put up, a separation. On the other hand, you have conforming. If you want to talk about letting light shine, if you have a light, you cover it up with a wall, what happens? There's darkness. And on the other hand, you have a light and it conforms. What are you left with? Darkness. And so either end of the spectrum, we're left in darkness. So much so that this is a simple truth. We sing a children's song about it. Hide under a bushel, let it shine. Don't let Satan get out and let it shine. And either extreme leaves us in darkness. Instead, we must come to rest in the middle. I want to talk about that resting in the middle today. Turn to 1 Peter. We're going to be in 1 Peter chapter 1 and 2 today. Because Peter talks about a way of approaching the world that I think is very beneficial. In chapter 2, verse 9, Peter calls us out and he recognizes this. He says, "You are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into marvelous light." So, this side we have darkness. On this side we have darkness. But we're called to the light. And he doesn't just say you're called to the light. I like that he has the word here, marvelous. A marvelous light. You're called together to be this light of the world. If you go back to chapter 1, look at verse 16. He uses this word holiness. Let's start reading in verse 13. Therefore, prepare your minds for action, and be sober-minded. Set your hope fully on the grace that will be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. As obedient children, do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance. But as he who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct. Since it is written, you should be holy, for I am holy. Be holy, for I am holy. We've talked about this word holy in the past, in Bible classes and sermons. And what's the common definition used when we talk about being holy? It's to be what? Has anybody ever heard the phrase to be set apart? To be different? It's holy, it's set apart for something else. But we're called at the same time to be in this world that we're a part of, to be participants in this world. And so sometimes we use that separation to do this, to cover ourselves up. And so what we see is a church may turn inward. All of a sudden, a church stops connecting with the world around them, the community around them. And everything becomes inward. That's where all effort is focused, inwardly, because we put a wall up. Well, we're set apart, we're separate, we're different. And with each time, there's a brick being laid that hides the light. And so many people have reacted against us. Oh, we're not that different from the world. Look at us. We embrace the world. We're just like you. Being holy does mean a difference. But it's a kind of difference that doesn't push away, doesn't embrace holiness. It's a kind of difference that acknowledges the world that we find ourselves in, acknowledges what Christ has called us. As we look at the life of Christ, I think we find very clearly that difference. You look at how Jesus interacted with people around him. Let's take Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus, we all know, was a wicked man. But what was his profession? A tax collector. And tax collectors were great people, right? They were the scum of the earth. They were thieves. And so Jesus finds himself walking along one day, I think rather intentionally, and he sees Zacchaeus, who's climbing the tree just to catch a glimpse of Jesus, because he knows that something is different about Jesus. And he wants to see Jesus. And Jesus stops, and he calls to him, Zacchaeus, come on, let's go to your house today. And Zacchaeus, a thief, I think we're very standing on solid ground if we were to call him a thief. Because if you look at his interaction with Jesus, he leads a changed man. And Zacchaeus' response is, if I've stolen anything, I'll repay them back. I think we could cross out that if, just replace it with since. Since I've stolen things, I will repay it back. Zacchaeus leads a changed man. Not because Jesus walked by and saw him and turned the other way and kept walking. Not because Jesus embraced him and said, hey, can I have some of the profits? Some of your profits will really help me in my ministry. You know, if you make some donations to my ministry, I can go preach more. No, Jesus approached with a different view of the world. One that he acknowledged a broken person. He embraced that person, left them with an expectation of change. There's Another case where Jesus goes to visit a Pharisee, and a woman comes in, she breaks perfume, she anoints Jesus. We know that the Pharisee is thinking, oh, how can he let this woman, she's called a woman of the city, not meaning Oklahoma City. She's a woman of the city, meaning probably a woman of the night who doesn't participate in upstanding activities. How can Jesus let this woman touch her? Oh, she's so dirty. She's a sinner. And Jesus very easily could have said, oh, no. I'm holy. I'm God. I can't let you touch me. Many people would have been tempted to, yeah, come on, let's. Jesus doesn't. This woman is broken, and she comes to Jesus, and Jesus accepts her as she is, gives her an expectation of change. And he says, woman, you are forgiven. You didn't throw up a wall. Instead, he acknowledged. Did some reading by a theologian, and I like what he had to say about 1 Peter here. His name is Miroslav Volf. He talks about this difference, this way that Jesus approaches the world around him, and I think is beneficial. It says this: it is strong, but not hard. Fear for oneself and one's identity creates hardness. In the mission of the world, hard difference operates with pressures, manipulation, and threats. Think of this. Manipulation. Well, if you give money to the church, you'll be rich. That's manipulation. Is that true? No, it's not true. What about threats? Well, if you don't repent, you're going to hell. It's a threat. It's hard. It puts up walls. A decision for a soft difference, on the other hand, presupposes a fearlessness. 1 Peter repeatedly encourages his readers to assume people who are secure in themselves, more accurately, who are secure in their God, are able to live the soft difference without fear. They have no need either to subordinate or to condemn, but can allow others space to be themselves. For people who live the soft difference, makes a fundamental difference. It takes the form of witness and invitation. They seek to win others without pressure or manipulation, sometimes even without a word. You make a difference in life, in someone's life, without even a word. 1 Peter chapter 3. Likewise, wives, be subject to your own husbands, so that even if some do not obey the word, they may be won without a word. A soft difference is a way of approaching the world that is neither hard nor conforming. It is one that leaves the doors of the church and acknowledges there's a broken world that we're living in. It acknowledges that there are people that are hurting that need somebody to come alongside them, to put an arm around them and show them the love of Christ. Not the love of the world, not condemning, but the love of God. Soft difference. I liked, if you were here on Wednesday, what David had to say when he talked over here. He mentioned that when he was young, he saw a church in the parking lot had a sign as you left out. He said, "You're now entering the mission field." We are. The world that is around us, that we are participants in every single day, is a world that is ripe. People need God. Even here at Enid, Oklahoma, where there's 150 plus churches, Even in Oklahoma, where there's a church on every street corner. Churches aren't full. People that need Jesus Christ. They need somebody to come alongside of them and show them the grace of God. Show them that while they are sinners, God still cares for them. And that we as His people can be friendly. Give them an expectation of change. A soft difference to the world. Think of the other people that Jesus came into contact with. He came into contact with a lady that had been married multiple times. Was living with somebody she wasn't married to. We have people just like that. Jesus came into contact with a guy named Peter, who disowned Jesus, who said, no, I don't know who he is. We have people just like that. People who once upon a time were on fire for God, were believers, and then fell away. Who knows why? And they need somebody to come and encourage them and lift them up again. Just as Jesus did to Peter and said, "You love me? Feed my sheep." Jesus interacted with the sick and diseased of the world, the lepers, the people that, if they were to be walking on one side of the road and see a leper coming, the leper would shout out, "Dirty, I'm unclean, I have leprosy. Let me make sure I walk way around the other way." We have people that do that nowadays, even without an infectious disease. Oh, there it comes. Jesus didn't do that. Instead, He went towards them, touched them, He embraced them, He healed them. We be a person, someone who's broken, to a hurting world. Are we to be set apart? Yes. Does that being different mean that sometimes there's a checklist that we have to go, you know what? That's probably not something that a Christian needs to be doing. Then yes, we should behave that way. But it should not be at the hard condemnation of people that don't know God. It should come out of the positive, the grace and love that God has given to us. Because that's the only reason that I have to look forward to eternity with God. Not because I bought some backpacks. Not because I helped somebody change their tire. Not because I sit on the right pew at church. Did you guys know there's the right pews and the wrong pews? I'll let you figure out which one's the right ones, the wrong ones. Hint, it's none of them, it doesn't matter. None of that matters to God. None of that matters to getting to eternity. The only reason we can look forward to eternity is because we've been covered by the grace of God through Jesus Christ. That is a gift that's offered to every single person. Whether they have an infectious disease, whether they are a thief, whether they're an adulterous person or a liar, just like you and me. We're called to enter into that world. Let our light shine. So I want to encourage us as a church and as individuals not to be on this extreme over here, but also not to be on this extreme over here, which both lead to darkness. But to find ourselves in the middle, where we are holy, where we are different from the world around us, but also we are in the world around us. To find that position of rest, because if you let the pendulum go back and forth enough, You wrestle with that. What does it look like? You don't touch it. You leave it alone. Eventually, you find that middle where there is peace. Until somebody comes along and stirs it up again, and then it starts going again. Somebody writes that article about, how Christians should be, and it goes back and forth. Rest with a soft difference to the world. I think that we'll find that opportunities to share the gospel will open. Let's pray. Father God, we struggle to follow you. We struggle to find the path to stay on. Your scriptures speak about it being a narrow path. Your scriptures talk about fleeing the darkness. God, it's hard. It's so easy to see our light flickering and to cover it up, to try and hide it and protect it, and in so doing, just to bring darkness. God, I confess. For the many times that I have failed to let the light shine, confess. I ask for your forgiveness. Help us to be people who let the light shine, people of a marvelous light, who are holy, who are set apart. I'm calling others to join us in. Pray this in Jesus' name, and all together as a church we say, Amen. If you have a need, a prayer, a joy to share, please do so as we sing. Somebody wants to embrace that holiness of God and be baptized. Be set apart, be different from the world. But do that. Be washed, be made clean. Find that narrow path. Let's do so while we sing and sing.